Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Monday the 19th of June 2023. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 finished up 0.6% today to 7,295 points. The Star and Domino's Pizza are the 2 worst performers this financial year, but they were 2 of the best today, up 4.5% and 4% respectively. On the flip side, it was a tough day for the energy companies with coal prices lower. The banks were solid, the iron ore miners weaker. Woolies had a good day, up 2.5%, while Goodman Group, the industrial property giant, and toll road leader Transurban, well, they both did pretty well also. The insurers, including QBE and Suncorp, did well, while the tech stocks tended to underperform. Story number 2, the federal government's $10 billion housing fund has been delayed yet again, this time for 4 months after the Greens won a motion to postpone it. Green Senator Sarah Hanson-Young moved an amendment to delay debate on the housing bills until the middle of October. The amendment, which passed after a vote, prevents the government from putting the housing bills on the Senate program until October 16. Now, the coalition is also opposed to the government's housing policy and voted with the Greens. Plenty of other news coming out of Parliament today, with just a few days left before the midwinter break. The bill to authorise the Voice referendum passed. A plan to stop junk food advertising on TV and radio between 6 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. will be introduced into federal Parliament later this week. There remains plenty of pressure on former Liberal, now Independent Senator David Van to leave Parliament after allegations of inappropriate conduct by him. And Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said his government is in the process of improving workplace conduct standards at Parliament House, but said it just takes time to get it right. Story number 3, Macquarie Group has emerged as the front runner to buy a stake of up to 50% in Energy Australia, the country's 3rd biggest electricity and gas supplier. The deal would be worth billions of dollars and comes after Energy Australia's parent, Hong Kong-listed CLP Group, has been looking for partnerships for the coal power business to help invest to transition it to low-carbon energy. That's a big job. According to the Financial Review, while CLP is in discussions to finalise a deal with Macquarie, sources close to those discussions said talks with other interested parties are continuing. Such a deal would represent a major step in Macquarie's direct involvement in energy assets, especially in the domestic market, where its involvement is pretty much limited to just investing in battery storage. Any deal would ramp up the restructuring taking place in Australia's gas and electricity sector. Origin is currently the subject of an $18 billion takeover bid from North American buyer Brookfield. AGL is rethinking its strategy after a failed merger plan last year and an overhaul of the board forced by activist, shareholder and tech billionaire Mike Cannon-Brookes. So, plenty going on in that sector. Story number 4, embattled consulting group PwC has been affected by a global hacking incident after a cyber breach last week at MoveIt, a third-party platform designed to transfer sensitive data between different companies. PwC uses the software with only a limited number of client engagements, a spokesperson for the company said. Initial investigations show that its own IT network, that's PwC's network, hasn't been compromised and that the cyber attack on MoveIt had a limited impact on PwC. Now, some clients have been contacted, though. The Russia-linked extortion group C10P has claimed responsibility for the MoveIt hack, which affected a bunch of companies and institutions globally, including British Airways, the US Department of Energy, Shell, consulting firm EY, and Johns Hopkins University. And finally, story number 5, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with China's top foreign policy official in Beijing today, hoping to stabilise strained ties between the world's 2 largest economies. Blinken and Wang Yi agreed to rebuild communication channels between the two. The meeting comes after Blinken held a 7.5-hour meeting with the Chinese foreign minister yesterday, which, according to Bloomberg, both sides described as candid. There are hopes Blinken will meet President Xi Jinping tonight. That exchange is really the benchmark of success for the trip, especially after the Chinese leader met with American billionaire Bill Gates in Beijing last week. That's it for the afternoon report for Monday, the 19th of June, 2023. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Join Michael Thomas and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.